Commander Tycho stood at the edge of the Grand Hall, watching the celebration with cold eyes. His gray skin reflected the bright lights of the victory party, but he felt no joy. 3 cycles had passed since the coalition forces crushed the human resistance on their home planet Earth. 3 cycles of supposed peace. "Commander, you should join the festivities," said Officer Sungmin, approaching with 2 cups of glowing blue liquid. "You led the final assault. This victory belongs to you more than anyone." Tycho took the cup, but did not drink. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of his unease. "Something troubles you on this day of triumph?" asked Sungmin. "War is never as simple as our leaders wish to believe," Tycho said, "especially not with humans." Around them, the Grand Hall of Viridian's capital city buzzed with the elite of the Galactic Coalition. The Nixians liked Tycho with their 4 eyes and gray skin. The tall, slender Vosperians with their crystal growths and flowing movements. The cloud-like ethereals drifting near the ceiling, changing colors to show their happiness, all celebrating the end of what they called the human problem. High Counselor Do-hyun's voice boomed across the hall as he raised his cup. "Today marks 3 cycles since our glorious forces put an end to human aggression. 3 cycles of peace across the stars." The crowd cheered. Tycho did not. He remembered the final battle too clearly. The way the humans fought even when victory was impossible. Their cities in ruins, their fleets destroyed, yet still, they would not surrender. Not until the coalition forces had no choice but to use the planetary dampening field that shut down all their technology. "They are savages but tenacious ones," Sungmin said, misreading Tycho's silence. "No match for our superior evolution and technology." Tycho's upper right eye twitched. "Do not make the mistake of underestimating them, officer. Their technology was primitive, yes, but they adapted faster than any species we have encountered. They are contained now," Sungmin said with confidence. "Their planet is under guard. Their colony surrendered." Tycho was about to respond when his communication device pulsed against his wrist. A priority message. At the same moment, he noticed Intelligence Officer Kite pushing urgently through the crowd toward them. Kite's skin had turned a pale gray, almost white, a sign of extreme distress among Nixians. "Commander," Kite said, bowing quickly. "You are needed in the command center immediately." "What has happened?" Tycho asked, already moving toward the exit. Kite lowered his voice. 3 outposts in the Orion Arm have gone silent. The last transmission from Outpost Zenith showed unknown vessels attacking. Unknown vessels? Tycho's hearts began to beat faster. "Not in our records?" "No, Commander. And they—" Kite hesitated. "They appeared without using the jump gates." Tycho stopped walking. Every spacefaring race in the known galaxy used the ancient jump gate network for faster-than-light travel. It was the only way to move between star systems without spending years in transit. The only way they knew of, at least. "Show me," he ordered. The command center was a flurry of activity when they arrived. Screens displayed star maps with blinking red alerts near the edge of Coalition space. Officers of all 3 Coalition races worked at stations, their voices tense. General Juwon looked up from the central table as Tycho entered. "Commander, good. We need your expertise." "What are we facing, General?" Tycho asked, studying the displays. "See for yourself," Juwon said, activating a hologram. The image showed the final moments of Outpost Zenith. Strange ships with sleek designs, firing weapons that cut through Coalition defenses with ease. The recording ended with static. "Those are not ships in our records," Tycho said, studying their unusual design. "But something about their attack pattern seems familiar." Science specialist Ye Jin, a Vosperian with delicate crystal formations along her arms, stepped forward. "We've analyzed their movement algorithms. They match no known species but show a 82% similarity to—" She paused, her crystals dimming slightly. "To what?" Tycho demanded. "To human battle tactics, Commander. Advanced and evolved, but recognizably human in origin." The room fell silent. Tycho felt his suspicion confirmed. Impossible, General Juwan finally said. The humans are contained. Their technology is disabled. Apparently not all of them, Tycho said quietly. He remembered the words of the human commander he had captured in the final days of the war, a fierce female with eyes like burning stars who had stared at him without fear despite her wounds. This isn't over, she had told him. You have no idea what you've started. At the time, he had dismissed it as the empty threat of a defeated enemy. Now, he wondered. Could some have escaped before we established the blockade? Asked Sung Min. Yejin's crystals pulsed with blue light as she calculated. It is possible a small percentage of their fleet was not present during the final battle, perhaps 5% at most. Not enough to pose a real threat, General Juwan insisted. And certainly not with technology like this. The humans were at least 100 cycles behind our development. Unless they adapted, Taekho said. Unless they learned from the war. He turned to the star map, studying the positions of the destroyed outposts. These attacks are precise, strategic. They knew exactly where to hit us to blind our sensors in that region. What would you suggest, Commander? Asked General Juwan. Taekho's four eyes narrowed in thought. We need more information. I will take a small fleet to investigate these outposts personally. The High Council wants this kept quiet, Juwan warned. They don't want to cause panic at the celebration. 3 outposts could be coincidence. Pirate activity, perhaps. Pirates don't use unknown technology that bypasses jump gates, Taekho said firmly. And they don't specifically target military installations. He turned to Yejin. You will join my crew. I need your analysis skills. The Vosperian's crystals flashed in surprise before she bowed. I am honored, Commander. Prepare the battleship Vigilant Dawn for immediate departure, Taekho ordered Sung Min. Minimal crew, those you trust to be discreet. As the others hurried to obey, General Juwan stepped closer to Taekho. The war is over, Commander. Don't go looking for ghosts. Taekho looked at the final image from the destroyed outpost. With respect, General, I wonder if it ever truly ended. Hours later, as the celebration continued in ignorance, the Vigilant Dawn slipped away from Viridian's orbit. On the bridge, Taekho watched the stars stretch as they entered FTL travel toward the first outpost. Course set for Outpost Zenith, Sung Min reported. Estimated arrival in 6 hours. Taekho nodded. Maintain alert status throughout the journey. When Sung Min moved away, Yejin approached the commander. May I speak freely, sir? Always specialist. You fought the humans directly. More than most, she said, her voice low. The official reports say they were primitive and predictable, but you seem to think otherwise. Taekho was silent for a long moment, remembering the battlefields of Earth. The way humans kept fighting long after logical species would have surrendered. The reports are wrong, he finally said. Humans are anything but predictable. They are chaotic, emotional, and incredibly dangerous when cornered. He turned all 4 eyes to her. And I fear we have merely driven them into the shadows where they have been planning in ways we cannot imagine. The ship hummed around them as they headed toward the darkness of space, where the first clues awaited. Taekho could not shake the feeling that this was only the beginning, that somehow the humans had survived, adapted, evolved, and now they were coming back. The Vigilant Dawn dropped out of FTL travel with a shudder. Through the main viewport, Commander Taekho could see the remains of Outpost Zenith floating in the emptiness of space. What was once a proud coalition station was now just twisted. Metal and debris. Scan for survivors, Taekho ordered. Officer Sung Min shook his head after checking the sensors. No life signs, Commander. The station's core was hit directly. Very precise attack. Yejin's crystals dimmed as she studied the data coming in. The damage pattern suggests weapons we have not encountered before. Energy signatures don't match anything in our database. Taekho's 4 eyes narrowed. Bring us closer. I want a team to board what's left of the station. We need to recover any data cores that might have survived. As they approached the wreckage, something caught Taekho's attention. What is that? he asked, pointing to a section of the destroyed outpost. Sungmin zoomed in the viewport. On a large piece of the station's hull, someone had painted a symbol, a rising phoenix with a human skull at its center. A human symbol, Ye-jin said quietly. The phoenix represents rebirth in their mythology. They wanted us to know who did this, Taiko said. This wasn't just an attack. It was a message. 3 hours later, Taiko stood in the ship's conference room with his senior officers. The few data cores they had recovered from the outpost were damaged, but Ye-jin had managed to extract some information. The station was attacked by 5 ships, she reported. They appeared suddenly, without using the jump gate. The outpost had no warning. That should be impossible, Sungmin insisted. All known FTL travel requires the ancient gate network. Known is the key word, Taiko said. Show me what else you found. Ye-jin activated a hologram showing a grainy image captured by the outpost's sensors before it was destroyed. The attacking ships were unlike anything the Coalition had ever built. Sleek black vessels with unusual engine configurations. And this, Ye-jin continued, bringing up another image. From the station's communication logs. It came through just before the attack. The message was simple. Lazarus rises. Lazarus? Sungmin asked. A human religious reference, Ye-jin explained. A dead man who returned to life. Taiko felt his skin grow cool. They're announcing their return. Commander, a voice called from the door. A junior officer stood there looking nervous. We've detected a ship drifting near the edge of this system. It's a Coalition prison transport. The prison ship's hull was intact, but it drifted powerlessly through space. No response came to their hails. Life signs? Taiko asked as they approached. Very few, Sungmin replied. All in the crew section. Nothing from the prisoner blocks. Taiko led the boarding party himself. The transport's corridors were dark, emergency lighting casting eerie red shadows. When they reached the bridge, they found the answer to one mystery. The Coalition crew members were dead. Not from weapons fire or explosive decompression, but something else. Poison in the air circulation system, the medical officer reported after scanning the bodies. Very sophisticated. They never knew what hit them. And the prisoners? Taiko asked. The ship's logs told the story. The transport had been carrying 50 human prisoners from a labor camp in the Arcturus system to a high-security facility. Somehow the humans had escaped their cells, taken control of the ship, eliminated the crew, and then disappeared. The escape pods are all accounted for, Sungmin reported with confusion, and no other ships docked with this one according to the logs. Then how did they leave? Taiko wondered aloud. Ye-jin, who had been examining the ship's sensor data, looked up with crystals pulsing rapidly. Commander, you need to see this. She showed him the final sensor reading from the transport. For a brief moment, something had appeared next to the ship, a distortion in space itself. Then the human life signs vanished. What are we looking at? Taiko asked. I believe, Ye-jin said carefully. They developed some form of short-range teleportation. Silence fell over the team. Such technology was theoretical at best, even for the Coalition's most advanced scientists. So they attacked the outpost, then freed their people, Taiko summarized. They're building forces. In the prison block they found more evidence. One cell wall had writing scratched into it, the same symbol they had seen on the outpost debris, the phoenix with a human skull, but with words beneath it. Lazarus Initiative. We return. The Vigilant Dawn continued its investigation, visiting the other destroyed outposts. Each told the same story. Precise attacks, advanced technology, and always the phoenix symbol left as a message. After a week of gathering evidence, Taiko received an encoded transmission from a source he hadn't expected to hear from again. The message contained coordinates for a meeting. It could be a trap, Sungmin warned. Most likely, Taiko agreed. But we need information. Set course for the coordinates. The location was a small trading outpost in neutral space, far from coalition authority. The kind of place where information could be bought and sold without questions. Taiko went alone to meet his contact in a dimly lit establishment filled with traders and mercenaries from a dozen species. He spotted her immediately. A small, quick-moving Vosperian female with distinctive red crystal formations on her arms. "Hi, Juan," he greeted as he sat across from her. "Still selling secrets to the highest bidder?" Haiwan's crystals pulsed with amusement. "Information broker is the preferred term, Commander, and business is good." "What do you know about the outpost attacks?" Taiko asked directly. "Straight to business. I've always liked that about you." She leaned forward. "What would you say if I told you humans have been building a fleet in secret for the past 3 cycles? Taiko's lower eyes narrowed. "I'd say that's impossible given the blockade around their homeworld." "The homeworld, yes," Haiwan agreed. "But what about the humans who weren't on Earth when you attacked? The exploration ships? The small colonies? Too insignificant to bother with?" She slid a data chip across the table. "The coalition claimed victory too soon. While you were celebrating, the scattered humans were gathering, building, planning." "And how would you know this?" Taiko asked. Haiwan's crystals darkened. "Because they've been trading for materials through brokers like me. They pay well and ask interesting questions." "What kind of questions?" "About jump gate technology, about coalition patrol routes, about weapon systems." She paused. "They've been studying us, Commander, learning our weaknesses." Taiko took the data chip. "What's this? Coordinates?" "Rumors say the humans have established a base in the void sectors, a place they call Lazarus Station. If you want answers, start there." Her crystals pulsed once with warning. "But be careful. These aren't the same humans you fought before." Back, on the Vigilant Dawn, Taiko studied the data from Haiwan, the void sectors. Sungmin said with disbelief when Taiko shared the information. "That region is uncharted, no resources worth claiming." "Which makes it perfect for hiding," Taiko pointed out. "No one would look there. Coalition protocols forbid entering the void sectors without authorization," Sungmin reminded him. "Those same protocols forbid humans from attacking our outposts," Taiko replied dryly. "Set course for these coordinates." As the ship prepared to jump, Yejin approached Taiko privately. "Commander, may I ask why you seem less surprised by these developments than the others?" Taiko was quiet for a moment before answering. "Because I fought them directly. I saw their determination, their adaptability." He looked at the symbol of the phoenix they had found. "And I knew even then that a species like that doesn't simply accept defeat." "What will we find at these coordinates?" she asked. "I don't know," Taiko admitted. "But I suspect it will change everything the Coalition thinks it knows about humans." The Vigilant Dawn jumped into FTL travel, heading toward the mysterious void sectors, where the answers, and perhaps a new war, waited. The Grand Council chamber on Nix Prime fell silent as Commander Taiko finished his report. The 12 High Counselors stared at him with expressions ranging from disbelief to outrage. High Counselor Do Hyun spoke first, his voice cold. "You expect us to believe that humans, a defeated species with primitive technology, now possess the ability to travel without jump gates and are attacking our outposts?" "The evidence is clear," Taiko said firmly. He gestured to the holographic images floating above the council table. "These are the ships that attacked our outposts, and this," he brought up another image, "is the technology they developed at the Black Site." "A Black Site you had no authorization to visit," Do Hyun pointed out. Taiko's 4 eyes blinked, in sequence. "With respect, Counselor, I was following a direct lead in my investigation." General Ju-Wan, standing at the edge of the chamber, stepped forward. "Commander Taiko was never meant to find that facility. The question is, who gave him the coordinates?" All eyes turned to Taiko. He kept his face neutral. "An information broker in neutral space. And this broker just happened to know about our most secret research installation?" Ju-Wan asked with suspicion. "I believe the information came from humans," Taiko said. "They wanted someone to discover what was happening there, Ye Jin, who stood beside Taiko, spoke up. The facility's security was compromised from within. The humans had been planning their escape for some time. Do Hyun waved a dismissive hand. This is absurd. A handful of escaped test subjects does not constitute a threat to the coalition. They are more than test subjects, Taiko insisted. Director Yoon Kyung confirmed they were developing advanced technologies under coalition supervision. Technologies that are now in their possession. Yoon Kyung, who had been brought to the council hearing, nodded reluctantly. The human named Jin Ho stole critical research data during the escape. A Vosperian counselor's crystals pulsed with concern. What exactly did he take? Everything, Yoon Kyung admitted. Jump gate bypass technology, weapons research, shield, advancements, all based on human ideas that we helped develop, Taiko added. Do Hyun slammed a hand on the table. This is fear-mongering. Humans are contained. Their home planet is under blockade, their colonies surrendered. Where would these phantom attackers come from? Taiko was about to respond when the chamber doors burst open. A communications officer rushed in, breaking all protocol. Counselors, forgive the interruption, but we've received an emergency transmission from the Centauri shipyards. The officer activated his datapad. A static-filled hologram appeared above the council table. A Nixian shipyard commander, his face marked with burns and his uniform torn. Under attack, an unknown vessel appeared without warning. The transmission cut in and out. Weapons unlike anything. Can't hold them. Requesting immediate. The message ended in static. Silence filled the chamber for 3 heartbeats. Then chaos erupted as counselors started shouting questions and demands. General Ju-won barked orders into his communicator. All available ships to Centauri sector. Full battle alert. High Counselor Do Hyun had gone pale. The Centauri shipyards are our largest military production facility. They're supposed to be impregnable, not against an enemy that can bypass jump gates, Taiko said quietly. They can appear anywhere without warning. Do Hyun's expression hardened. You seem to know a lot about these attackers, Commander. I fought humans in the war, Taiko replied. I know how they think. They're targeting our ability to respond. First outpost to blind our sensors, now shipyards to cripple our fleet. The council chamber's main display activated, showing real-time footage from the Centauri shipyards. Coalition. Ships were engaged in battle with sleek black vessels that moved with impossible speed. The coalition forces were clearly losing. Those ships, Yejin said, her crystals pulsing rapidly as she analyzed the images. They're using hybrid technology. Coalition designs improved with human innovations. How is this possible? An ethereal counselor asked, his cloud form darkening with distress. We underestimated them, Taiko said simply. Just as I warned we might. General Ju-won approached the council table. The Centauri shipyards will fall. We need to deploy the home fleet to protect core worlds. More reports began flooding in. A coalition colony and the Orion Arm under attack. A supply depot destroyed. A research station gone silent. They're hitting us everywhere at once, Sungmin said, checking the tactical display. Taiko studied the pattern of attacks. No. These are precise strikes. They know exactly where to hit us to cause maximum damage with minimal forces. How could they have such intelligence, Do-hyun demanded. 3 cycles, Taiko said. For 3 cycles we thought they were beaten while they studied us, learned our weaknesses, prepared. Do-hyun's face hardened with anger. You speak of them with admiration, Commander. I speak of them with respect, Taiko corrected. Something we should have shown from the beginning. Enough, Ju-won shouted. We can assign blame later. Right now we need to respond to these attacks. Another communication officer entered the chamber. General, we've received a transmission here from the attacking forces. Put it through, Ju-won ordered. The hologram above the table changed. A human face appeared. Jin Ho, the scientist from the Black Site. His expression was calm, his eyes steady. Attention coalition leadership, he said in perfect Nixian language. For 3 cycles you have believed yourselves victorious. You have held our homeworld hostage. You have experimented on our people. You have taken everything from us. Jin Jose. Image was replaced by footage of coalition ships attacking Earth during the war. Cities burning, people fleeing. You thought us defeated because our technology was inferior. Jinho's voice continued over the images. But you made a critical error. You judged us by your standards. You failed to understand what makes humans different. The image changed again, showing humans working together, building ships, developing technology. We adapt, we learn, we survive, and now we return. Jinho's face reappeared. This is not revenge. This is liberation. Every human held in your labor camps, every colony under your control. We are coming for them all. The transmission ended. The council chamber was completely silent. How many human prisoners do we hold throughout coalition space? Tycho asked. General Juwan checked his datapad, his expression grim. Approximately 7 million spread across 42 worlds. And how many escaped during the war? How many were off-world when Earth fell? Unknown, Juwan admitted. Perhaps 1 million, maybe more. Tycho turned to the council. For 3 cycles, those scattered humans have been gathering, building, preparing, and now they have the advantage of surprise and technology we helped them create. What do you suggest, Commander? Asked the Vosperian counselor. We need to consolidate our forces, protect key installations, and... Tycho hesitated, knowing his next words would be controversial. We need to open communication channels. Try to negotiate. Negotiate? With terrorists? Dohyun was incredulous. With an enemy that has outmaneuvered us, Tycho corrected. We thought we won the war. We were wrong. The chamber shook slightly as distant explosions sounded. Outside, the great windows of the council chamber. They could see coalition defense ships launching from the planet's surface. They're attacking Nix Prime? A counselor asked in disbelief. No, Tycho said, studying the pattern of ships. They're positioning for something else. As if confirming his words, the jump gate in orbit around Nix Prime flared with energy. But instead of ships coming through, the ancient structure began to shimmer and destabilize. They're attacking the jump gate itself, Yejin realized, her crystals paling. Isolating us, Tycho said grimly. Cutting off our ability to respond while they free their people across coalition space. He turned to face the council, all 4 of his eyes fixed on them with intensity. The war has come home, counselors, and this time we are the unprepared ones. The void sectors lived up to their name. Empty space stretched in all directions as the vigilant dawn dropped out of FTL travel. No planets, no stars nearby, nothing but darkness. Are you sure these coordinates are correct? Commander Tycho asked, staring at the view screen. Yejin checked her instruments again. Yes, Commander. We are precisely where the data chip indicated. There's nothing here, Sungmin said, frustration clear in his voice. Tycho's 4 eyes scanned the emptiness. Or nothing we can see. Run a full sensor sweep. Check for any anomalies. The crew worked in silence for several minutes. Finally, a junior officer spoke up. Commander, I'm detecting a small object 3,000 units away. It's just floating there. On screen, Tycho ordered. The view screen zoomed in on a small, dark asteroid. Unremarkable. Lifeless. It's just a rock, Sungmin said. But Tycho noticed something. Look closer. Those formations aren't natural. Yejin enhanced the image. What had appeared to be natural features were actually structures built into the asteroid's surface. A hidden base, she said quietly. Approach slowly, Tycho ordered, passive scans only. As they drew nearer, a signal suddenly came through their communication system. Coalition vessel, a mechanical voice said. You have entered restricted space. Identify yourself immediately. Tycho nodded to the communications officer who opened a channel. This is Commander Tycho of the coalition vessel Vigilant Dawn. We are on a sanctioned investigation mission. There was a long pause. Then, Prepare to be boarded for verification. Before Taiko could respond, the asteroid's surface shifted. A large section slid open, revealing a docking bay inside the rock itself. It's a trap, Sungmin hissed. Perhaps, Taiko agreed. But it's also our only lead. He turned to his first officer. Prepare a security team. We'll go in, but the ship stays on high alert. At the first sign of trouble, you leave, with or without us. The docking bay was cold and sterile. As Taiko led his small team into the asteroid facility, they were met by a group of uniformed figures. Not humans, but coalition personnel. Mostly Nixians like himself, with a few Vosperians. A female Nixian with commander insignia stepped forward. I am Facility Director Yun Kyung. Your presence here is unexpected, Commander Taiko. As is finding a coalition facility in uncharted space, Taiko replied. What is this place? Yun Kyung's face revealed nothing. Follow me. Since you're here, you might as well be briefed. She led them through sterile corridors deeper into the asteroid, security checkpoints every few hundred steps, armed guards at every turn. This facility doesn't appear in any official records, Taiko noted. That's the point of a black site, Commander, Yun Kyung said coolly. What we do here requires discretion. They entered a large observation room with a window looking down into a laboratory space. Inside the lab, Taiko saw something that made his blood run cold. Humans, at least a dozen of them, some working at stations, others appearing to be test subjects, all wearing devices around their necks. What is this? Taiko demanded. Project Insight, Yun Kyung said with pride. The Coalition's most important research initiative. These are human prisoners, Ye-jin said, her crystals darkening with distress. Test subjects, Yun Kyung corrected. After the war, the High Council realized we still knew too little about our enemy. This facility was established to study humans. Their physiology, their psychology, their remarkable adaptability. Taiko's upper eyes narrowed, without the knowledge of most of the coalition. Need-to-know basis only, Yun Kyung confirmed. General Juwon oversees the project personally. Taiko watched the humans below. They moved with purpose but seemed unnaturally calm. Those devices, on their necks? Behavior modifiers, they ensure cooperation. One human in particular caught Taiko's attention. A male working at a complex piece of equipment, his movements precise and focused. Who is that? Taiko asked. That is Jin Ho, our most valuable asset. He was a military scientist for the humans. His knowledge has been essential. Taiko noticed how the other humans seemed to defer to Jin Ho, despite their controlled state. And what exactly are they working on? Yun Kyung smiled. Come, I'll show you our primary research laboratory. The main lab was filled with technology Taiko had never seen before. Some clearly of coalition design, but much of it different. Strange, hybrid. You see, Commander, Yun Kyung explained as they walked between workstations. Humans have a unique way of approaching problems. They don't think like us. They make intuitive leaps that our logical minds would never consider. You're using them to develop new technology, Taiko said, understanding dawning. With proper guidance, yes. Their creativity combined with our advanced science has produced remarkable results. She led them to a sealed chamber at the back of the lab. Inside was a device unlike anything Taiko had seen before. A sphere of swirling energy contained within a framework of unknown metal. Our greatest achievement, Yun Kyung said proudly. A new form of faster-than-light travel that doesn't require the jump gates. Ye-jin's crystals pulsed with shock. That's impossible. That's what we thought too. Until Jin Ho showed us otherwise. Taiko stared at the device, then at the human scientist working nearby. The ships that attacked our outposts, they use this technology. Yun Kyung's expression shifted from pride to confusion. What attacks? This technology is still experimental. We haven't deployed it yet. Before Taiko could explain, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Red lights flashed in the corridors. What's happening? Yun Kyung demanded into her communicator. Security breach in Sector 7. a panicked voice replied. Multiple explosions reported. We're losing power to containment systems. Taiko grabbed Yunkyung's arm. You have a bigger problem than you realize. Someone is using this technology already. Humans are attacking coalition outposts. Yunkyung's eyes widened. That's not possible. All human resistance was crushed. Clearly not, Taiko said as the lights flickered around them. Suddenly, the behavior modification devices on the humans' necks shut down with a synchronized click. For a moment, nothing happened. Then chaos erupted. The humans moved with surprising speed and coordination. Jinho grabbed a data tablet and ran for the exit. Others quickly overpowered nearby guards. Stop them, Yunkyung shouted. Taiko drew his weapon but hesitated when he saw Jinho staring directly at him. The human's eyes were clear and intelligent. Not the eyes of a prisoner, but of a soldier with a mission. Jinho pressed a button on a device in his hand. Around them, equipment began to explode. Fall back, Taiko ordered his team. Back to the ship. As they retreated through the failing facility, Taiko saw Jinho accessing a computer terminal. Their eyes met briefly across the room. The human scientist held up the data tablet he had taken, nodded once to Taiko, then disappeared down a corridor. We need to capture him, Yunkyung shouted. We need to survive, Taiko countered, pulling her along as another explosion rocked the asteroid. They barely made it back to the vigilant dawn. As the ship pulled away from the doomed facility, Taiko watched through the viewport. The asteroid base was breaking apart from multiple internal explosions. This was planned, he said quietly. They were waiting for an opportunity. For what? Sungmin asked. To escape, to take what they needed. Taiko turned to Yunkyung, who sat in shocked silence. You thought you were studying them, but they were learning from you too. The final explosion was massive. The asteroid split apart, debris flying in all directions. And in the chaos, a small ship, not of coalition design, slipped away into the darkness. Track that vessel, Taiko ordered, but it was too late. The ship disappeared from their sensors using the very technology the coalition had forced the humans to develop. What happens now, Commander? Yejin asked. Taiko's 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he processed everything they had learned. Now we report to the High Council. They need to know the truth. What truth? Yunkyung asked bitterly. That the war never ended, Taiko said, and the enemy we thought we defeated has become something far more dangerous, because we made them that way. 1 week after the attacks began, Commander Taiko stood on the bridge of the battleship Eternal Vigilance. Through the viewport, he could see the coalition colony world of New Vosperia. Once a thriving center of trade, now it was the front line of a war no one had expected. Status report, Taiko ordered. The evacuation is 60% complete, Sungmin replied. 4 more transport ships are loading civilians now. And the human fleet? Still holding position at the edge of the system. 23 ships, Commander. They haven't advanced since they disabled our jump gate. Taiko studied the tactical display. After the initial attacks, the humans had changed strategy. Instead of destroying coalition forces, they were isolating them, disabling jump gates, cutting off communication, methodically working through coalition space system by system. They're giving us time to evacuate civilians, Yejin observed, her crystals pulsing thoughtfully. They could have attacked while we were vulnerable. They want to minimize non-combatant casualties, Taiko agreed. This isn't about revenge for them. A communication officer turned from his station. Commander, General Juwan is making contact from Nix Prime. Put him through. The general's hologram appeared on the bridge. He looked tired, his gray skin pale from stress. Commander, what is your situation? The evacuation continues, General. We expect to have all civilians off-world within 6 hours. Juwan nodded. Good. Once the civilians are clear, you are ordered to deploy the Stellar Lance. A heavy silence fell over the bridge. The Stellar Lance was a super weapon, capable of destroying an entire fleet in one strike. It was also known for its devastating effect on any planets in the blast radius. General, Taiko said carefully, Using the stellar lance would render New Vesperia uninhabitable for decades. Those are your orders, Commander. Juwan's tone left no room for argument. We must show these humans that their rebellion will not be tolerated, and the millions of Coalition citizens still on the planet? Their sacrifice will be honored, Juwan said stiffly. The High Council has authorized maximum response to the human threat. After the transmission ended, Sungmin approached Taiko. We have to follow orders, Commander. Taiko's 4 eyes blinked slowly. Do we? At what cost? The humans started this war, Sungmin reminded him. Did they? Taiko turned to face his first officer. 3 cycles ago, we attacked their homeworld, we took millions prisoner, we experimented on them, and now we're surprised they fight back? Before Sungmin could respond, the communication officer called out again. Commander, we're receiving a transmission from the human fleet. Taiko hesitated only briefly. Put it through. A human face appeared on the main screen. A female with short dark hair and eyes that seemed to look right through Taiko. She wore a simple black uniform with the phoenix symbol on the shoulder. I am Fleet Commander Hanul of the Human Liberation Forces, she said in perfect Coalition standard language. I wish to speak with the commander of your fleet. I am Commander Taiko. Recognition flashed in Hanul's eyes. The hero of the Battle of Earth. Your name is known to us. Not as a hero to your people, I imagine, Taiko said. A small smile touched Hanul's lips. Actually, many remember you as the one Coalition commander who treated prisoners with dignity. Taiko was surprised by this. Why have you contacted me, Commander Hanul? To offer terms. She gestured, and the view widened to show a star map behind her. As you can see, we have disabled 17 jump gates and liberated 6 Coalition worlds. We now control the routes to your core systems. The map showed human fleets positioned throughout what had once been secure Coalition space. Your position is strong, Taiko acknowledged, but the Coalition has vast resources. Resources you can no longer move without jump gates, Hanul pointed out. We don't wish to destroy the Coalition, Commander. We only want what is ours. And what is that? Freedom for all human prisoners, recognition of human independence, and reparations for the damage done to Earth? Sungmin stepped forward, anger clear on his face. You attack our worlds and then demand reparations? Hanul's expression hardened. We have attacked military targets only. Unlike the Coalition, forces that bombed human cities. What guarantee do we have that you'll stop at these demands? Taiko asked. The same guarantee you have that the sun will rise tomorrow, Hanul replied. None. But we are not conquerors, Commander. We never have been. We only want to live in peace. Peace requires trust, Taiko said. It does. Hanul nodded. Which is why I invite you to come aboard my ship. See for yourself who we are and what we want. The bridge crew looked at Taiko in shock. Sungmin shook his head. Commander, it's obviously a trap. Is it? Taiko wondered aloud. They could have destroyed this fleet already if they wanted to. Hanul waited patiently on the screen. You have 3 hours to decide, Commander. After that, we will proceed with our liberation of New Vesperia, with or without your cooperation. When the transmission ended, Yejin approached Taiko. The general's orders were clear. His orders would condemn millions to death. Taiko's mind was working quickly. Prepare a shuttle. I will meet with the human commander. This is against protocol, Sungmin protested. So is using a superweapon on our own planet, Taiko replied firmly. Sometimes we must choose between following orders and doing what is right. The human flagship was unlike any vessel Taiko had seen before. From the outside, it appeared sleek and powerful. Inside, it was surprisingly warm and functional. No excessive decoration or status symbols like Coalition ships often displayed. Hanul met him in a simple meeting room. Up close, she was shorter than Taiko had expected, but her presence was commanding. Thank you for coming, Commander, she said, gesturing to a seat. I come to understand, not to surrender, Taiko clarified. Understanding is all I ask. Hanul activated a display showing a series of images. Coalition black sites, Human prisoners working under harsh conditions, medical experiments. These facilities were unknown to most of your people, Hanul said, but they were very real to us. The coalition leadership told us all human prisoners were treated according to established protocols, Tycho said, his 4 eyes taking in the disturbing images. They lied. Hanul's voice was calm but firm. Just as they lied about why the war started in the first place. She showed another image, the first contact between humans and the coalition many years ago. We didn't attack your exploratory vessel as your histories claim. We were defending ourselves from what we perceived as an invasion. Cultural misunderstanding, Tycho said quietly. That led to 3 cycles of war, millions dead, and a planet in ruins. Hanul turned off the display. We don't want revenge, Commander Tycho. We want justice, and a chance to rebuild. Tycho was silent for a long moment. Then he asked the question that had been bothering him since the attacks began. How did you develop such advanced technology so quickly? Hanul smiled slightly. That is the one thing your people never understood about humans. We thrive under pressure. We adapt. When faced with extinction, we evolve. She leaned forward. Your scientists forced us to help develop new technologies, thinking they controlled us. But we were learning, improving on their designs in ways they couldn't imagine. And now you hold the advantage, Tycho acknowledged. For now. Hanul nodded. But advantage shifts. War is costly for everyone. That's why I'm offering peace. Tycho thought of the stellar lance waiting to be deployed, of the millions of lives that would be lost if this conflict continued. Have no authority to negotiate on behalf of the coalition, he said finally, but you have the authority to not fire that superweapon I know your ship carries, Hanul replied. And you have the respect of your people. Your voice will be heard. Tycho stood. I will speak to the High Council. I will tell them what I have seen and what I believe, but I cannot promise they will listen. That is all I can ask. Hanul stood as well. The choice now belongs to the coalition. Peace or continued war. Recognition of our rights or mutual destruction. As Tycho prepared to leave, he turned back to the human commander. Why did you contact me specifically? There are higher-ranking officers in the coalition fleet. Hanul's expression softened slightly. Because during the Battle of Earth you ordered your ships to avoid civilian targets against your orders. You showed mercy when you didn't have to. That suggests you might listen when others would not. Tycho nodded slowly. Perhaps both our species have more to learn about each other than we realized. That, said Hanul, is the beginning of peace. As Tycho's shuttle returned to the eternal vigilance, he looked out at the stars. For 3 cycles, the coalition had believed themselves superior, believed the war was over and they had won. They had never understood their enemy. But perhaps now, they would finally begin to understand. Not just the strength of humans, but their capacity for both terrible destruction and remarkable forgiveness. The choice now lay before them. Continue a war they might not win, or embrace a peace that would change the galaxy forever. Commander Tycho had made his choice. He would not fire the stellar lance. He would stand for peace, even if it meant standing against his own people. Because sometimes the true enemy wasn't the one you fought against, it was the one within.